What's up, my fellow YouTubers? So, here we are today with Tesla. Everybody loves Tesla. We got something brewing in the charts, and we're going to try to pick at it and see the potential possibilities. So, it kind of looks like an ascending triangle to me, but it could also be a bull flag. As you see, we continuously have been testing the bottom of this trend line and ascending upwards between these lines. Every time we bounce, we shoot up to the top, get rejected, come back down, do the same thing over and over, about 5 times now. We're getting to the very end of this pattern right now, and as you see on this 1 hour, this right here is a spinning top. It's an indecision candle, but when it's at the top of a trend, usually means it's going down or a trend reversal, more like it. And if it's at the bottom, usually means it's going up. Now, if we look at the RSI here, we're looking like we're getting a little bit of a W there. As you see, we did have a head and shoulders pattern here that brought us down. But right here, we're getting a double bottom. That right there, to me, is a confirmation on the RSI showing that we are going to be spiking upwards. So that's a great sign right there, in my opinion. That candle and this trend. Now the volume, we're starting to get a little bit of green volume here at the bottom. That's a good sign. Obviously, when it's a breakout confirmation out of this pattern, you want to see volume coming up to about the same level as the other ones, massive volume. So let's take a look at the 4 hourly. That was only on the hourly, so I mean, it could still bounce up and down in between there. This could be as you see right there, that's called the black crow. The 3 black crows is the type of candlestick analysis that is. 3 red candles in a row, that usually signifies a downtrend. But this is on the 4 hourly. So usually you get some type of indecision or green candle after those 3 black crows. But obviously, as you see, we got another 3 black crows here. So is this next candle going to be a green candle that's going to shoot us up? Well, let's take a look at it. So from what I'm looking at right here, it's almost looking like this here was the W that shot us up, came back down. We had 3 touches on the bottom. The bears couldn't push us down. We came back down again, tried it out, came back up, and now that's a head. And now are we creating a right shoulder here? That would mean an inverse head and shoulders. If that's the case, that's going to push us out. So that seems like 2 signs there on the bullish end right now. Seems like the bears are really trying to get us to come down. I mean, it could look like a big W as well. To me, that was kind of looked like a W, and then it had a fake out. But it's very possible that we could turn it into an inverse head and shoulders. I mean, we're way down here on the RSI. If we break up, we could come all the way up to the top where we've been getting rejected on the RSI on the 4 hour as it is. So, I mean, there we go. There's a couple good signs here that we're analyzing here. Could be some type of triple bottom, and just showing that the bulls are strong, and even though the bears are really trying to push this thing up. Now I'm wondering here, could we come down and kind of come as low on the RSI and the 4 hourly as we've been previously coming? It seems to be doing that, but we have a couple signs on what could show that we might not, and we have signs showing that we still could, so we have to keep an eye on that. So obviously, as you see there, some clean W's throughout this pattern when we came up and tested it a couple times. As you zoom in out here, we can see the bull flag, ascending triangle, pretty damn clear. But do you think they're really going to make it that easy for us to make money? I'm not too sure. So we want to take a look here and pull out our EMAs and TD sequentials and see if there's any other type of warning signs. So obviously, as you see, we had that red TD9 flash, not there, but we're obviously this golden cross is about to happen. There's the red TD9 that shot us down. That was the correction that we needed when we got rejected at the top of the triangle. Now we have the 20 EMA, the yellow line, coming up to cross the green and the red line. That's called the golden cross. Now this is on the 4 hourly, but sometimes it signifies stuff that's going to happen sooner on the lower time frames. Now, the scary things for me here is how we're converging with these moving averages. I mean, we do have, on another bright note, bullish divergence forming. If you take a look here, we're straight across on the pattern above, but on the RSI here, we're showing that we're coming down a little lower on the right, but we actually have maintained roughly the same, because what happens is the RSI doesn't follow, it follows the wick, not the candlestick. So when the wick comes down lower, the RSI comes down lower, and as the body comes back up, it creates bullish or bearish divergence. Pretty sure I'm saying that correctly. Hopefully I'm not. Hopefully I am. But so we're getting to the end of this pattern here, and let's see what this measure move would be if we have a bull flag. If it's a bull flag, I mean, I can't even see this goddamn thing on the chart. So, I mean, it looks like we might be, if it's a bull flag, I mean, we're going to be moving upwards 650 area. I mean, 625. I mean, it's pretty crazy, obviously, and it's not going to happen in one move. I'm sure it'll ladder itself up, maybe even come back down, retest the top of that breakout of the triangle. We do need to see confirmation if you are going to be a breakout trader. If you're just going to grab stuff to hold now and take the chance that this thing could potentially go up or it could break back down. We'll show you breakdown targets also. But if it breaks up, we're looking up to $600. If it breaks down, it might be a fake breakdown. If it goes below this 377 to 384, kind of looks like 384, 383 is the weekly 20 moving average. That's going to be monstrous support, and it is coming up there. We're pretty close, so I don't see why we wouldn't test it while we're here, but that could be close enough, maybe. We'll have to keep an eye on that level also, because if we have a fake break out of this and everyone thinks it's going to crash, they start selling, it touches that 383 area, and everyone buys it right back up. But if you look here, on the weekly, we also have bullish divergence. It's looking like a W too. But as you see here, this is really cool. It's lower on the left and higher on the right on the chart, and down below, it's the opposite. So that right there is bullish divergence. That's really good to see on the weekly, the daily. I mean, these are all good signs. So, I mean, I was kind of getting a little nervous when I saw the 20 daily moving average looking like it's going to cross down and push us down. That would be a death cross. That would push us down pretty far. I mean, that could bring us to our breakdown target. So, but they're converging. So do you think we're going to move up because the 4-hourly EMA is starting to turn up in all these smaller time frames, and all these different things are showing us good signs? I mean, our RSI is pretty low as far as, the strength of it, but we're also way down here. In the RSI, it almost looks like a falling wedge a little bit, or a falling, kind of like a falling wedge or a falling channel or something like that. If we look at it like that, do you think that we're going to continue, we're going to break down and then this is going to go all the way to that bottom peak before we actually break up? I mean, that's very possible. If we come all the way down to where it broke down before, that's going to be the breakdown target that I have, which is 273. As you see here, we had massive bearish divergence. Price was showing it was the same on the RSI, but it actually wasn't, which brought us down. Now, do you think that's enough correction, what we've had so far, and we can turn around? I mean, these are all signs we have to watch out for, which is why, as a pattern trader, if that's what you are, you don't want to just buy. Most of the time, you don't want to buy these things right before it breaks up. You want to buy it when you get confirmation. So, there's a little bit of like this alligator tooth kind of shit going on with this price action. It's so choppy here. It's really hard to trade. I mean, unless you figure it all out, you can make some money off it. But, some of these things are a little scary, but this is kind of where we've been, respecting here. If we came straight across, I mean, that could be a potential support line. But if we draw it across where we've been getting support here, This right here is massive if this turns into a W. That W, when you have lower on the left, higher on the right, and a W, it's called a bear trap. So it's a fake breakdown of a pattern, and it causes people to all start shorting, and then all of a sudden it breaks back up and it fakes them out. Now, when you have a W that's higher on the right than the left, that's wicked bullish, like unbelievably bullish. So if we can get this to turn into a W, then that breakout is going to come and happen. Do I think it's going to go to $625? I really don't. I think we're going to get some serious resistance at the fib retracement, which is the $500 level that we've been getting rejected off of many times. But something seriously crazy is about to happen. So, I mean, if you draw this trend line here, I'm trying to figure this out because this is the only part that's confusing me here. If I'm drawing from the first two wicks, usually I like to go off of the first two wicks, but as you see, we had that one bear trap kind of W that came down. So if we're looking at it like that and this death cross starts to come down, then we could come down to the 393.09 level, and that would be our bounce. If we're going off of what I like to measure, which is from the first two lowest wicks right there, as you see, then looking at it in that sense, well, let's zoom in and kind of see. So going off of that, it's looking like 393.09. If we play with it here and make it touch there, is this already breaking down? Are we starting to slowly break down? Are we having another fake breakdown? I mean, this is on the 4 hourly, so it all depends on how you draw this thing. But like I said, the breakdown target of this thing, if this was a potential breakdown here, then we're looking at 258, I think I did it before and had 273, but 258 could be the breakdown. And then this thing could turn into like a, something, who knows? So these are our two targets. I'm looking at like the 270, 258 area for a breakdown. And let's see, around 592-ish for a break up. So we're going to have to really watch this thing. Like I said, when you make plays like this, if you are going to get in, if you were going to play this thing smart, you either would look for that confirmation on the RSI, if you know how to do that, or you would play a confirmation. When it breaks out of the pattern, look for volume. If the volume is looking massive, then you know that we're going up. You could even play it even more safe, let it run up, wait a couple days, and when it comes back down, retesting the triangle, if it doesn't fall back into the triangle or below it, then you buy there at that point and you take off from there. Usually when shit breaks out of patterns like that, that's how it ends up happening. You get a breakout that goes up to a pretty good point on a fib retracement line, some sort, and then you end up coming back down, retesting the pattern, and if you get that confirmation, everyone comes in buying and you're off to the races. And then for sure. So depending on where we put this depending on where we put this fib retracement, I mean, we could come from the low that we had around 331 area, and if we pull that up here, it doesn't really look like price action's respecting anything too much. So I don't usually like to just change around fibs too much, but in this scenario, I think we should line it up with this peak right here where we drop down. Now, if we do that from the swing low to the swing high, now we're seeing something that makes sense. So the 0.618 is at 396.12. As you see here, where we had this drop, it was respected perfectly on that bear trap of the W. So if we're going to keep that bear trap kind of W going, then are we going to double touch on this Are we going to keep retesting this, or are we going to drop lower? If we move these trend lines a little bit differently, back to where I was saying prior, then the 0.618 would actually work out perfect, which would be 396.12. So we could come and test that 396.12 area before we come up. So I'm just trying to look for kind of prices to watch out for before we know if it's breaking down, but also without getting the fake out. So that 396.12, 397, somewhere around there is that potential bottom before we break up. Now, if we're going to break out of this thing, if you look at the 0.382, it's at 436.40. And that's almost directly at this pattern breakout. So if we can get above the 436.40, maybe even 440 level, come back down and retest it, or even just somehow maintain support above it, that's your breakout target right there, 436.40. So, we're going to want to keep an eye on this thing. On the 4 hour, obviously, it looks like we could have a little bit more room, maybe even come back up, test the top at the 436.40, come back down to 396, go back up, so on and so forth. But if we look at the weekly here, we are getting that spinning top candle. Now, that is some type of reversal of some sort. So that is a little concerning to me that we see this candle. But if you look here, we have either 1, 2, or 3 more weeks before this thing breaks out. Now, usually in a pattern like this, the longer you take to break out of it, the more chance that you have to break down. Now, also, in a sense, if you break down, the longer you take to break down, the more of a squeeze you get, which is kind of what we're getting here. We're getting this squeeze where the 20 and the 50 are colliding. We're getting this coiling up, which means there's a big fucking move coming. Now, if you were to ask me, I would give you from the negative signs versus the positive signs. I'm seeing more positive signs. Now, I don't hold any Tesla, so I'm going to be trading this breakout, or possibly grabbing one at the 396.12 if it'll give it to me, and I'll have to put a stop loss below. Now, I'm liking the hourly confirmations that I was getting with this bounce. I'm just trying to see if it's going to be some type of fake out here, or if we're going to continue up. So, potentially you could have bought there at that 401.66 where it came down to today, and ride that thing up and see where it goes, and watch this RSI and watch all these moving averages and see what happens. It looks like tomorrow's going to be a good day for it, or Monday rather. But hit the like button and leave in the comments whether you guys think it's going to break up or break down. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.